Hello folks, welcome to something a little new. Casting the Eastern Front mod for Company of Heroes. As you can see, we've got our nice Russian soldier. This nice Russian MG with the wheels on it. Basically, I participated in an Eastern Front tournament a little whiles back. It just wrapped up, or the casts of the games in the finals just wrapped up a couple days ago. So I thought I would get around to casting my two favorite games that I played in. You're going to see the same map, same opponent, just reversed roles. This first one, I'm playing as the Soviet Union. You can see I'm constructing my Ingerny, Russian engineers over here. And my opponent is playing as the Wehrmacht. We can see his pioneers running on here, likely, in fact, I know what's going to happen, to construct a Wehrmacht quarters. So why don't we get started? I want to leave the fog of war off. A lot of times, well, I mean, this is only I haven't made very many Company Heroes videos, but generally, I just kind of show it from my perspective. This time around is what I want to do is focus on my opponent's strategy as well, despite the fact that I actually played in this one. And therefore, we're going to have the Fog of War off and watch it. So he actually sends his first Pioneer out to cap, heading straight for this middle point here. And he lets his second one begin the construction of the Wehrmacht quarters. Over here, I'm creating my Red Army mustering tent, the equivalent to an American barracks. However, there are more units. There's 3 tiers of infantry units available to the Russians, if you're not familiar. Conscripts, Strelki, and Guards. And initially you can only construct conscripts, which is, I'm going to start off with 2 conscripts here. 7-man squads with only 4 rifles, unless you get a certain doctrinal ability. And then when I have a support barracks upgrade, I gain access to Strelki, and a tank hull upgrade gives me access to Guards. Over here, it's bugging me a little that I can't see his units on the strat map. I'm not quite sure why that is. In any case, our opponent is actually heading for the road in the middle first. He's going to begin by capping this, which will, I believe, connect all territory. He caps further than that by virtue of him capping his cutoff here. His pioneers are then moving to the fuel, and you can see his first squad of Volksgrenadiers is out. A little later, I suspect either because he built this with his second pioneer, or simply because conscripts train faster than our first conscript squad. So we've actually got 2 conscript squads out, and I'm just going to try if I can get his units to show up on the strat map so it doesn't bug me so much. Give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. This is working much nicer now. We can get the overhead view that I like to not only issue units in-game, but when I do this kind of thing for you guys, I like to be able to zip around quickly and show you what's up. So over here we've got his Volksgrenadiers heading for this house in the middle, likely going to attempt to seize it for this MG coming up here. I'm capping this road here. I haven't done that yet. I believe I'm going to wire off this point, as my opponent is doing the same over here, actually. Both of us don't really feel like getting our fuel and munitions, respectively, harassed. So those troops are now doing nothing. I sent these troops to the middle to cap this VP, which was not smart. Luckily, I don't lose any men with guns, but I do retreat them out of there just to be safe. Over here, I force the retreat and then actually end up killing the Pioneer squad. Now, I was not acting incredibly quickly. My micro is a little off this game, I will admit, or this series. Nothing nearly as bad as another game I played, where I did shit like... The Soviets have a shift infantry. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right at all, but basically penal legion troops. There you can see the wires going up. Available to them that you can execute a man to break suppression. And so I would send them into flank, right, with the express purpose of breaking suppression. And then I would, like, go do over their stuff, come back, be like, oh shit, my guys are suppressed, and retreat them. And that happened 2 or 3 times. I don't think I do anything that bad this game, hopefully. You'll see my opponent's strategy is definitely superior to mine in this case. Basically, you see him moving right here. This is a focus from the game. He is going to continually harass the cutoff with Volksgrenadier, largely troops. Now, unlike the Germans, who, if I went for his cutoff, if it really became a problem, perhaps I'm playing too passively, but if it really became a problem, he could just kind of park an MG there, and then it would at least take some effort. However, basic Soviet infantry troops, their rifles do not have the suppression effect, or even the really damaging effect against troops like these. In addition to that, I have not unlocked them yet, but yes, there it is, researching. Petrol bombs are very integral for the Soviets, not because they're as good as American grenades, because they are definitely not, but just so you have some options when making flanks and forcing troops out of cover with your conscripts. I went for 4 squads of conscripts. I like to play the Soviets very similar to how they play the Americans in the early game, I suppose. 2 engineers, 4 rifle squads. The primary difference is I like to get the grenades for the Soviets after my 4th rifle, whereas I usually pick up grenades as Americans against standard Wehrmacht strategies after my 3rd rifle. So I'm letting my guys get suppressed here so I can come in for the flank. I'm going to go ahead, throw a petrol bomb in that house. However, this squad is getting low on health. I also throw a 2nd petrol bomb here to hopefully force these Volks out of cover. I successfully get the machine gun out of the house, so I'm going to go ahead and retreat those guys because they were taking damage from the armed Schwimmwagen of my opponent, Tiger 17, who is really a classy guy through this as well. I have to commend him. Just seems like a really cool guy. So, however, he does reposition his MG and send in my guys. He's going to try and take the long way, go and harass them, and they basically all get caught and suppressed. Luckily, I get them out of there without too much issue, and I try to bring them back in because I figure, hey, I can get 1 squad close enough to petrol bomb him, right? Wrong. I cannot. For some reason, I think I was telling these guys to, but they just kept crawling closer and closer instead of throwing it. Maybe because one member was lagging behind. But basically, I could not get those to either of those squads to the petrol bombs. Had to get them out of there. They were getting low health. I make a kind of last-ditch effort with this guy to force the thing off. But now I'm taking damage from the Schwimmwagen, and I just have to retreat, especially because he's going after my cutoff once more. However, I do believe I killed all his Pioneer squads, which is interesting. I don't remember killing the 2nd one, but it happened, I suppose. He now has his Volks on the field. He has actually neglected to cap certain areas of his map, choosing instead to deny me resources instead of capping. I would have at least capped the high munitions. That's a significant munitions income, and Vera is definitely a faction where you want the munitions. Out of the Vanilla Company Heroes factions, 2 heal off what I consider fuel, which is the Panzer Lead and the Americans make one-time investments in either an upgrade for their HQ or a building that heals. And 2 I consider heal off munitions, those being the British, who have to build their kind of medic tent structure but then can spend munitions from there to heal units in a radius, and the Wehrmacht, who have to heal on a unit-by-unit basis with medkits. The Soviets heal by creating a... it's basically just a triage because you're going to park it in your base 90% of the time, but you can do cool stuff by getting your guys to retreat to engagement here. I'm just kind of blathering about the mod, but it's a cool mod, so I like to talk about it. You can, basically, you just use it as a triage, I would say 90% of the time, but if you, like, retreat to outposts, that kind of stuff, you can always set it up there. It's a medic truck that has a very similar effect to the triage, and I would suspect I will pick one of those up eventually, given that I already have the support barracks, and my troops are certainly taking damage in combat. I was really lucky, like, this squad, for instance, got away. And I'm actually going to go ahead and build a sniper. It's a little bit of an odd choice. I mean, I should have taken out the Schwimmwagen there. I got a little bit unlucky there, but I also got extremely lucky with that 1 squad living. So over here, my men were trying to plant mines, and they basically get murdered. Hopefully, I noticed to retreat this guy. They dodge the mine completely. This guy's going to run, and he's going to get cut down. I'm going to try and advance here on the MG. I should really be trying to get my cutoff back first. But I am able to scare his MG away, just the rifle blob. He doesn't expect that low health one-man squad to live much longer. I need to get that squad in fight, and the reason I'm getting a sniper is because my hope, you can see I'll make a major micro mistake later, possibly my biggest mistake of the game. Oh, I just lost a squad there, that was pretty big as well. When my brother came in the room while I was playing this game, and was like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, playing the tournament, fuck off, man. But basically my hope with the sniper was I can leave him somewhere like back here, right? So I can easily run to the MG emplacement because I don't actually have to want to buy an MG emplacement and have him successfully defend the cutoff. Also, as you can see, those Volks with MP40s really just shred through Russian infantry, like just shred. Luckily, none of these troops have, so I'm going to try and run these guys to this cover over here, and maybe my sniper can distract him. I end up having to retreat him, but that's okay. And I don't put these guys in cover, and then I'm just going to end up retreating them. So I definitely lost that engagement as well. My opponent can now cap large portions of the map. And remember, I'm only getting this point. I effectively only have 1 point captured in terms of actual resource providing. My opponent only has 2. But they're both twice as effective as mine, and he's denying me effectively, and it looks like he's going to move into cap more here. I really need a medic truck. I'm walking my sniper around cloaked. and I'm actually going to pick up a squad of Strelki. Okay. I guess for just better infantry power. So I'm going to go ahead and try and recap this cutoff because, it is frustrating. My opponent, let's look at his base. He is constructing the Sturm Armory. So he's going Tier 1, Tier 3. He went for a fairly long tier run with quite a few Volks. I got to pay attention with this squad. Trying to wither fire is alright sometimes to cap a point, but I'm getting a little lucky. It looks like I'm going to end up capping this. And we now have my, one second. And we now have my squads, including my sniper, coming over to support. And this squad, I gotta get out of there. That was close. So I'm gonna try and scare this off with conscripts. Well, my conscripts cap this point here as my Strelki fight these Volks. Unupgraded Volks with no vet. Definitely lose to Strelki. The sniper is also doing a little work. This Volk squad needs to retreat because it is getting both low on health and fairly low on men. His Shrim, and then I'm attacking these guys in the house. I'm going to throw a petrol bomb in there, which should force them to come out. I'm going to start sniping these MP40 Volks over here because they are the dangerous ones. But as you can see, like, even Strelki just get eaten by these MP40s. Like, oh, it is scary. To be fair, the MG was there, but they weren't even suppressed yet. They weren't taking increased damage from suppression. The Strelki never got suppressed. So I'm going to snipe, and then I think this is it here. Basically, walking this guy back. Brother comes in the door. I'm like over here reinforcing troops, maybe. Let's say that. And not only do I let his Shrim walk up to me, which I could have seen coming, I continue to walk cloaked and just get gunned down. So that is perhaps my greatest single blunder. I mean, I can't say I know how to play Russians incredibly well. Wehrmacht are definitely my stronger faction because they're just my best faction in general, I would say. However, that was not a shining moment, I must say. My opponent now has a Puma, and I have literally no way to fight it on the field. My current troops are just all armed with the Malsen Nagant rifle, unless he feels like stepping in front of. These things are actually surprisingly good against light vehicles. I'm not sure if, I don't think their stats are identical to the Vickers Nest that they're quite clearly based off, the British Vickers Nest. I kind of feel like they're a little more effective against light vehicles for some reason, but so I'm going to advance these guys here. I now actually have my half of the map. I'm getting resources, so I'm not feeling too bad. And then this squad's getting suppressed. I got to get them out of there. And the Puma's here that I can do nothing about. I think I'm just going to try and get a petrol bomb here to maybe get this MG out of my hair. There we go. That should deal with that. As this Puma is actually going to continue chasing my troops. And I don't even think I noticed I got it, but I think he might just leave this MG in the house to burn and die as he goes for the base rush with the Puma now. Base rush with the Puma. You got to make sure you focus the right squads, because he's shooting at the Strelki right here when I got like 0 health 2-man conscripts. You can't be doing that because it doesn't have the same effect as an M8 where you can drop some mines and roll out. And now I've actually got my command squad out as well to hopefully get some veterancy from this kind of grindy battle. What the hell is this guy doing? I guess I accidentally capwalked, except to covers. That's very strange. But I'm actually able, through just sheer Malsen Nagant fire, to force this Puma off. The Puma is much more resistant to small arms fire than, say, the Panzer Lead Armored Car. But I'm actually able to get away, and yes, here comes my anti-tank squad, armed with the PTRD anti-tank rifle. They are quite good against light vehicles. However, my opponent, with Tier 3, has the option of also creating Stugs, which I could literally not touch at the moment. So he does trigger the mine, but he's still going to get my point capped. But I'm going to run my blob over here. Hopefully I can cap that again. He's just going for the VP here. One thing I did not do in either of these games is prioritize VPs, which I probably should have done, knowing that this was a tournament game. And I also had a very clear faction preference if this went to a third game. So, yeah, I leave these guys over here because I'm expecting base rush. I'm also going to plant the mines expecting a base rush, because I know if it walks in, sure, it might try and backpedal away from these guys, because they actually hide in cover, which is a cool little aspect, similar to Fallschirmjägers. I'm fighting over here. I get Vet 1 on conscripts. Vet 1 does not actually increase their combat effectiveness, as far as I know. However, it does significantly reduce their cost to reinforce, which I think is quite nice, and definitely very in flavor with conscripts. Conscript squad maybe wouldn't get... let's say they wouldn't really increase in combat effectiveness through living in battle. Maybe they'd maybe they just convinced the superiors to reinforce that squad a little more. So I'm reinforcing my Strelke here. I'm building another mine. I just kind of want to coverage my base. I got quite a few munitions sitting around, and I'm just playing so passive because not only am I very weak against that Puma, like my one anti-tank squad is still not really enough to handle the Puma. I'm very afraid of losing my cutoff again. So I see him moving up here. I'm going to hustle my anti-tank squad up, try and get them in some green cover. These guys aren't even in cover. I'm pretty sure I thought they were in yellow cover because I wanted them to absorb Puma shots. And I'm just going to try and get like small arms fire over there and try and do something with it. You can see the PTRD, this big rifle here. Players of Call of Duty World at War may remember it as being a sniper rifle, which was a little ridiculous, but hey, it's COD. And I almost take it out. I missed that last shot, which is really unfortunate because you can see afterwards I'm going to run over here as these troops are falling under fire here. Hopefully I don't lose this Vet 1 squad, but I want to show you guys this. I believe I was probably watching this, and so forget. And I'm going to throw the anti-tank grenade, and if they just hit that last shot, I think that would have been a dead Puma. You can never say for sure. A lot of times you can just like get a main gun or engine destroyed when you think you might kill something in Company Heroes, but it would have been nice. So I do lose that Vet 1 squad of conscripts. Really unfortunate. This squad's still under fire. He now has Vet 1 Inf, and Vet 1 is pretty good on Volks. Obviously, most people know Vet 2 Infantry veterancy much more clearly, as that's the one that gives elite armor to Grenadiers, but Vet 1 is still not bad. He's making the concentrated play of going for my cutoff now. I'm trying to run these Strelke over, however, they're outnumbered 2 squads to 1, standing in red cover. I just try and get them into the yellow cover here, hoping my guys are better at close range, but they're still significantly outnumbered. I realize I have to get them out of here. I do manage to force off his MP40 Volks here, as they were focused on, I'm guessing, this squad. I know there's a couple squads over there, and I'm able to make a play for this center VP. However, I need to reinforce my men. I'm getting these, I believe it's a PPS 43 submachine gun upgrade for my command squad, hopefully giving me a squad that can go a little more toe-to-toe with those MP40 Volks at close range. Over here, he's also capping more than my cutoff. He's now going for my fuel on this side, which means that even if I recap my cutoff, I've now got to be preoccupied with recapping the fuel. He's also got Nebels. At this point, really just aiming for my base. I don't have any other real concentrated defense positions. And I destroy the engine of the Puma and turn my guys around because he fell into that mine there. One of the 2 mines I planted in hopes of catching a Puma, either retreating or entering the base. Pays off, and I should be able to. I probably screwed this up a little just in the heat of things, but basically I wanted my AT squad focusing this while my other squads focus these guys. And I retreat the hell out of there. Everyone but these Ingerny, who I think should be safe enough, as he drops what looks like a firestorm on my base. So my opponent has gone right-hand side Terror. Terror, very strong doctrine. Good news, won't be a King Tiger anytime soon. So I have not chosen the doctrine yet. I got 5 command points sitting. In general, when I play Soviets, probably favor the propaganda doctrine. I like the Kachushkas. I think that one thing Soviets can have problems with is breaking really heavily defended positions sometimes, because some of your infantry just doesn't have enough DPS if they don't get the petrol bombs off good to actually make your flanks effective enough. So I like the naval infantry, I like the rockets, I like the ability to call in a huge mob of men for munitions, which can be nice. But I actually go with Breakthrough. It gives me the inspiring speech, what I like to call the sprint for Stalin. And that basically has all your troops move quicker. And also the KV-1, which is a replacement unit for, I believe, the SU-122. I personally, in my fairly limited experience with the mod, well, I shouldn't say fairly limited, but I'm no expert. I personally prefer the KV-1 because it just snipes infantry. It's like one a shot regularly. I should not be capping with my command squad. I should be trying to fight first, so I got to get them out of there. But this mob of Volks has nothing more than Panzerfausts at current to fight this KV-1, so I'm going to be able to maneuver it and hopefully get this inf blob over there. My opponent has a Stug on the field, however, and not only that, a Veterancy 1 Stug. I'm not too familiar about what Veterancy does on Stugs, to be honest, but it does seem to be winning the fight with my KV-1, straight up. These Volks are really just standing there. I should probably... I mean, I was not penning a lot, so what I probably should have done was focus this low-health Volk squad. And he's actually going to move away, maybe because he sees the anti-tank people coming, perhaps, because I'm going to hit this AT grenade here. It does reasonable damage, but they're still standing in red cover, and now I gotta get the hell out of there before I lose my AT squad. Luckily, that will be enough to push him away, combined with petrol bombs, forcing his Volksgrenadiers into a less nice position. Should allow me to recap my cutoff and perhaps send this other conscript to get my fuel. My opponent is finally capping up these little holes in the map, and he is building. Let's go find out what he's building, shall we? He is currently building another Stug. So he will certainly outnumber my AT, given that half my AT only works against light vehicles, and by switching that, I screwed up the attack map again, so give me 1 second here, guys. Okay, and here we are back in. I am capping my cutoff. This squad is now Vet 1 as well. Going to be nice to reinforce those casualties if it lives, however, because I really needed to get my cutoff capped, but these guys are taking a lot of fire. Are they going to make it? Yes, they do make it, but I think I lose them anyways because I wasn't quick enough to retreat. Alright. So, over here, I'm capping this VP, but I turn around to help. See, sometimes it even gets 2 guys. I'm telling you, this thing just snipes infantry, and not only that, is very resilient. That's what I like about it. In Company of Heroes, in general, I am obviously a fan of snipers and stuff. I prefer resilience to high damage. There is, the thing about COH is if you can just kind of live longer than your opponents, you eventually accrue an advantage, and that's really nice. That definitely highlights my Wehrmacht style of play, which hopefully you guys will see in another game I have coming up. Okay, and now we see his second Stug rolling up here. This half-elf KV-1 is not going to be able to stand for too long, especially because there's 1 pen already. So I'm going to rush these Ingrany up to try and repair, as Stugs are not that effective against infantry, and hopefully that will be enough, except his second Stug, fully repaired, is rolling up, along with infantry support from his Veteran C1 Volksgrens, with their very deadly against Russian infantry MP40s. Look at them just eat this Vet 1 Strelky squad. Oh my god. Half of them weren't even firing yet. That's 1 squad there. So not only do I lose that, he's neveling my base, so my tank hull falls. I didn't even buy anything from tank hull, I just went with this, so that makes it a pretty poor investment. This is going to go down to Stugs, and it's basically GG. If I don't call it yet, I think I call it pretty soon. There it is. I call the GG. He's just going to cap this whole half of the map. He's going to get all the VPs. I just don't have the AT to deal with his Stugs. And yeah, that's what I talked about sniper that. I made more mistakes than that, to be sure. But that is game 1. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. And hopefully I will be hitting you up with game 2 in just a minute. Oh yeah, by the way, but it's going to be a separate video, so go to my channel and click game 2 to see what happens. The other game I really liked in this series, with the roles reversed.